Okay, so welcome back. That was so extra for no reason. Back to the Reddit mess where I give a little commentary, a little kiki, a little advice, and just my unsolicited opinion. Let's get into it. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you. Anyways, so the subreddit is Just Know Mother-in-Law. I'm going to preface by stating I love a good mother-in-law story, especially when they be acting up, because even myself, I've had a few potential ex-mother-in-laws that literally took me some places. So the post is called The White Dress. Here we go. The story is about my friend's mother-in-law and her wedding. Strapping guys, this is a wild ride in which I did the thing that got me banned from any of her family functions, plus a few threats of dismemberment and bodily harm. So a good friend of mine from university was getting married. They had been a couple since junior year of college. Through her 2 years in the Peace Corps and currently her return to this continent, 6 years in total, she had been to all manner of family functions and always came back with a strange story about how she thinks her mother-in-law secretly hates her. But she, being a very quiet and sweet person, pushed those thoughts aside. Point 1, she is a vegetarian and Jewish. Husband is not. She was invited and went to the Christmas dinner and figured she would just eat sides. As well, she brought a vegetarian casserole. Mother-in-law, after knowing her for 3 years and being told by her husband a few weeks prior not to forget, friend doesn't eat meat, proceeded to put meat in every dish. Friend drank water and ate her casserole the whole night, while mother-in-law cried to everyone that friend was so rude for not eating her cooking. So she's one of those mother-in-laws. Okay. So right off the bat, just hearing point 1, I can already tell what type of mother-in-law this lady is. She comes off very vindictive. It's the fact that she knew and was, warned beforehand that her daughter-in-law doesn't eat meat and still insisted on putting meat in every dish. To me, it was a trap. It was a trap just so she can create a scene in this manner. But getting back into it, the story, a few friends and I were asked to be in the wedding. Friend has a huge family, and so this was not going to be a small affair. Neither of them is particularly religious, but friend said it would be nice to be married under a huppah. Think an arbor, but 4 poles and covered with a white cloth and lots of flowers. Husband said he could care less and told her to go and rent one for the wedding. I was at the bridal shower when mother-in-law found out the pretty canopy was actually a huppah. She almost lost her shit in front of a bunch of people, but managed to compose herself and laugh angrily that if the Jews were being represented, so would the Catholics. In my head, I heard a record screech, guys, they aren't Catholic. Things got stupid quiet. My friend texted me the night before the wedding that she has a bad feeling. I tell her it's probably just nerves. She is getting married and this is a big deal. Oh, how I was wrong. We all show up, get our hair and makeup done, slip into a bridesmaid dresses, and hang out waiting for the bride to finish with her hair. She makes a comment saying that she hasn't seen her mother-in-law all day and that she skipped her hair and makeup appointment. We all side-eyed each other, took a few sips of wine, and hoped that the eerie feeling would go away. 30 minutes later, as we were helping the bride into the dress, guess who shows up? If you guessed mother-in-law, you win a cookie. Flushed from coming up the stairs, she is a light woman in full hair and makeup and a white dress. Not ivory, not cream, but Snow White dress. The dress was clearly a wedding dress. It was even from David's bridal. David's bridal, in which she would later shout at me. Floor-length satin with a sweetheart beaded top, a bit of a chain, and off-white lace on the bottom. The dress was even tailored to her. So she been knew what she was going to do. If she got this dress tailored made for her, she knew she was about to act the fool. I am astonished. Oh my goodness. This has been a long con she has orchestrated. Yeah. See, everyone's on the same page with this. Anyways, the bride burst into tears, and aunts and friends ushered mother-in-law out. We did our best to console the bride, touched up her makeup, and I made her a promise that the dress would never be seen in a photo. She looked me dead in the eye and nodded that the game was on. The venue only supplied white wine and champagne for the wedding party, but I grabbed my purse and ran down to the reception area and managed to flag an attendant by the bar and bribe him with a cool $20 to give me a bottle of red early. I cracked the baby open, filled a solo cup to the brim with it, and stalked outside. After a few swigs from the bottle for courage, I went over to where everyone was getting ready to take photos. With one last hard stare at my friend, I got her nod of approval. I pulled out my phone, held it in front of my face like I was reading a text, and walked straight into the mother-in-law. I poured the entire cup of red wine down the front of her dress and jumped back and gasped. Yes, because that's a real friend. That's a real friend to sit there and make sure that everything goes correctly. Mess up that lady's wedding dress from Dave and Bridals that she got tailored. That's a fool. Anyways, the look on her face was murderous. Murder, she wrote. She screamed, yelled, threatened, and promised she would sue me. People had to hold her back because she wanted to fight me. Eventually, she switched from screaming to sobbing and sank to the ground and threw a tantrum on the floor. Everyone moved back and just let her go at it and walked away to go take photos. It was surreal, as if everyone just hit their limit and noped out from around her. The 12-year-old flower girl whipped out her phone and snapped a few photos, much to our amusement. This is already super long, but I would say that mother-in-law went home and changed, only 20 minutes from venue, into a dark green, too small and low-cut dress. Because of this, she missed all of the photos. Wedding was beautiful. I got death glares from everyone she told that I attacked her with wine. No fucks were given as I drank and danced with friends. Bride thanked me in secret, and 3 months later took me for a spa day of pampering. But I am officially the ISIS cunt to my mother-in-law, and I'll take it with pride. I just have a few questions. Number one, after reading everything, where... like, as I'm listening to the story, the only thing that pops into my head is, like, where is the future husband at in all of this? Where is he at? Why is he not telling his mom off? I get it, it's the bridesmaid that's over here doing the discussion, but at no point in time is the husband even mentioned about his mother's shenanigans. Because who was really there to sit up there and tell the mother that that was not a bright idea to show up to someone's wedding wearing a wedding dress? Like, who? No one was going to mention that to her. No one was going to tell her, hey, like, this isn't a bright idea. And then on top of that, there's a part in here where they say, like, people just moved her out of the way, but she was still in the wedding. No one sat there and ripped that dress off of her. Hey, the way I would have been Cinderella's stepsister, and I would have snatched that dress off of that lady. Just saying. I know that sounds so messed up, but the way it would have had to have been done. It would have had to have been done. But the wine would do too. I don't know. The next post is, my mother-in-law just threw out all of my groceries. Grocery stores are out of stock and I'm losing my mind. Due to reasons, my mother-in-law had to move in with my husband and I for a while. I'm South Asian, my husband is white. So Indian food is what I was raised on eating, and I love it to this day. Due to stay-at-home orders, I suddenly have a lot of time to cook than I did before. I stocked my kitchen with rice, different spices, and whatever else I would need to make what I wanted. My husband doesn't mind and enjoy the food. My mother-in-law, on the other hand, does not. She never liked me. Some stuff she's even include as to say what kind of people use their hands to eat. The way she would have got knocked the fuck out. Actually, no. I'm not gonna sit there and say, because in the past, like, I've had like some mothers say some questionable stuff, and I sat up there and I tried to be the bigger person. Because looking back on everything that I've endured in my past relationships, I don't think I would want to go through that again. I know a lot of people, they can grin and bear it and tune out people's ignorance within the family, but me personally, it becomes so draining having to deal with someone's family member that makes it very clear that they don't like you, that they don't mess with you. Especially when you have a situation like this where the mother-in-law has to come and live with you. So now you have to deal with that on a 24/7 basis. Me personally, I would not be able to handle all that, but getting back into it. So just use a knife and spoon like normal people. My husband has stuck up for me on all those occasions before, but having to live with her 24/7 is wearing him down. After she moved in, she immediately started complaining, why does that smell so strong? It'll cling to the walls. Stop that. Or, God, are you really feeding my son that crap? Just eat normal American food. And she said a lockdown, so I'm assuming this happened during quarantine, like when we were officially in the pandemic and we were at home 24/7, and you got to deal with someone's mother-in-law berating you like that, talking about the foods that you eat. Babe, if you don't like the food, you can get to stepping. I know quarantine is taking its toll on everyone, so I decided to stay quiet. My husband did try to talk to her once, but that fell on deaf ears, like always. I woke up yesterday morning, going downstairs, chat with husband and mother-in-law for a while, go into the kitchen, open my pantry, and there's nothing. My rice, spices, flour has been cleaned out. I know you're lying. I know you're lying. I know you're lying. I know you're lying. I know she didn't. I know she didn't put her little crummy fingers on all my groceries. I know she didn't. I think the part that's really taking me out is what was wrong with the rice? It's rice. I'm literally trying to think of like all the different rices. There's the brown rice, there's white rice, there's jasmine rice. What is rice doesn't have an odor to it. So she really threw the rice out. What the rice do? Jesus. Anyways, I had a rice dispensing machine that I got a few years back, and that was missing too. I go to the fridge, and besides milk, butter, and bread, jam, and eggs, there was nothing. I get my husband and ask him what happened to the food. He looks in confusion until mother-in-law pipes up and says that she threw everything out. Ooh. Oh, Lord. I think I would have gone to jail. I think I really would have gone to jail because this is during quarantine, during the pandemic, and it's just you and I. You and I. Ooh, they would have to call the cops for me to get my hands off of that lady, because ain't no way in hell she would have gone without being scratched. She would have got it. She would have got it that day. She would have got it. Anyways, so when asked why, she implies my child isn't used to eating your types of food. Just make him what Americans eat. And boy, did that piss me off. She has this insane thing about not acknowledging that I am American, or when she does, she tells people that I got my citizenship through my marriage. Oh my God. Wrong on all accounts. I was born here, and so were the last 4 generations of my family. I go grocery shopping, and they were out of stock on basically everything. I come home, and she still has the audacity to ask why I'm not cooking like I usually do. Edit, she does go on to say that he did tell her what she did was unacceptable and horrible, but we haven't threatened her with an eviction just yet. I'm thinking of reaching out to my sister-in-law to see if she'll take her in. My mother-in-law's problem with moving into my sister-in-law is that she'd be far from her friends. I don't even care anymore. We're in the middle of a pandemic. She shouldn't even be seeing her friends. I'm really glad that the husband, that her husband sticks up for her and defends his wife on a constant basis. But I just feel as though that, unfortunately, you can't choose your family members. Your family members, that's what they are. That's who they are. The fact that she is stuck with this lady in the house during a pandemic 24/7, listening to her berate her the way that she has been about her food and the smells, honestly, that genuinely would have hurt me. That would have hurt me a lot. I commend her for being able to stick it out with her husband, because honestly, I wouldn't be able to be with someone whose mother was like that even had that thought process. Because then when you start talking about kids, from the sounds of it, it seems as though the husband took in his mom, as a good son should. I'm sure that he would want his mother to be involved with her kids, you know, the kids that they have. Can you imagine the stuff that that mother-in-law would be telling like her grandkids, making them feel bad for a portion of what they are, half of what they are? I don't know. Like, I think that's just so important. This is why you really have to think about who it is that you're getting with, not just who they are at surface level, but what are their family like? You know, what are their family's beliefs? Again, I'm going to say that it's very good that the husband backed his wife 100%. I think that's great, but I just feel like there's more to this than just, you know, their relationship, like especially if you start trying to add kids involved. But that's what I'm gonna say about that. Do you remember the time when we fell in love? Do you remember the time?